Today was Chapter 10, Further Use of the Will from the Science of Getting Rich. And I realized there was another exercise from Chapter 9 I forgot to read from that video. So that was, what can I do to free my mind from all worries and stress? My focus can be placed on my desires. So let's jump into Chapter 10. You cannot retain a true and clear vision of wealth if you are constantly turning your attention to opposing pictures, whether they be external or imaginary. Do not tell of your past troubles of financial nature if you have had them. Do not think of them at all. Do not tell of the poverty of your parents or the hardships of your early life. To do any of these things is to mentally class yourself with the poor for the time being, and it will clearly check the movement of the things in your direction. Let the dead bury the dead, as Jesus said. Put poverty and all the things that pertain to poverty completely behind you. You have to accept a certain theory of the universe as being correct and are resting all your hopes of happiness on it being correct. And what can you gain by giving heed to conflicting theories? Do not read religious books which tell you that the world is soon coming to an end, and do not read the writing of muckrakers and pessimistic philosophers who tell you that it is going to the devil. The world is not going to the devil, it is going to God. It is wonderful becoming. The true there may be a good many things in an existing condition which are disagreeable, but what is the use of studying them when they are certainly passing away, and when the study of them only tends to check their passing and keep them with us? Why give time and attention to things which are being removed by evolutionary growth when you can hasten their removal only by promoting evolutionary growth as far as your part of it goes? No matter how horrible and seemingly may be the condition in certain countries, sections, or places, you waste your time and destroy your own chances by considering them. You should interest yourself in the world becoming rich. Think of the riches the world is coming into instead of the poverty it is growing out of. And bear in mind that the only way in which you can assist the world in growing rich is by growing rich yourself through the creative method, not the competitive one. So it's kind of interesting how everyone's so focused on helping people in poverty to just get by, but it's never really talked about help the poor get rich. Why isn't it talked about helping give poor people the tools they need to get rich and show them the strategies? Why isn't it talked about being an example to them by getting rich yourself? Getting rich might seem like it's bragging when you're comparing yourself to poor people, but if you want the poor to improve their situations, you need to show them how to get rich. You don't need to be poor to help out the poor. You need to get rich and show them how to get rich. Give your attention wholly to riches, ignore poverty. Whenever you think or speak of those who are poor, think and speak of them as those who are becoming rich, as those who are to be congratulated rather than pitied. Then they and others will catch the inspiration and begin to search for the way out. Because I say that you are to give your whole time and thought mind and thought to riches, it does not follow that you are to be sordid or mean. To become really rich is the noblest aim you can have in life, for it includes everything else. On the competitive plane, the struggle to get rich is a godless scramble for power over other men. But when we come into the creative mind, all of this is changed. All of that is possible in the way of the greatness and soul unfoldment of service and lofty endeavors comes by way of getting rich. All is made possible by using of them. If you lack physical health, you will find that the attainment of it's conditional on your getting rich. Only those who are emancipated from financial worry and who have the means to live a carefree existence and follow hygienic practices can have and retain health. Moral and spiritual greatness is possible only to those who are above the competitive battle for existence, and only those who are becoming rich on the plane of creative thought are free from degrading influence of competition. If your heart is set on domestic happiness, remember that flourishes best when there is refinement, a high level of thought, and freedom from corrupting influences. And these are to be found only when riches are attained by the exercise of creative thought without strife or rivalry. You can aim at nothing so great or noble, I repeat, as to become rich. And you must fix your attention upon your mental picture of riches to the exclusion of all that may tend to dim or obscure the vision. So again, we see how important it is to focus on getting rich and not let anything distract you from that vision you're holding of getting rich. You must learn to see the underlying truth in all things. You must see beneath all seemingly wrong conditions the great one life ever moving forward towards fuller expression and more complete happiness. It is the truth that there is no such thing as poverty, that there is only wealth. Some people remain in poverty because they are ignorant of the fact that there is wealth for them. And these can best be taught by showing them the way to affluence in your own person and practice. Others are poor because, while they feel that there is a way out, they are too intellectually indolent to put forth the mental effort necessary to find that way and travel by it. And for these, the very best thing you can do is to arouse their desire by showing them the happiness that comes from being rightly rich. Others still are poor because, while they have some notion of science, they have become so swamped and lost in the maze of metaphysics and occult theories that they do not know which road to take. They try a mixture of many systems and fail in all. For these, again, the best thing to do is to show the right way in your own person and practice. An ounce of doing things is worth a pound of theorizing. So Again, action speaks louder than words, or in this case, it's talking about, you know, a little bit of action being better than a lot of theorizing. And we have the works box. There can be corrupting influences to your gaining of riches, things that make it difficult to focus on your dreams and develop the habits of success. If you if you're an alcoholic and you live with two other alcoholics, it would be very hard for you to quit because it would be in your face all day. The same can be said for financial wealth. Everything has some level of influence: friendship, intimate relationships, coworkers. We aren't above influence and must carefully choose who we associate with and what environment we invest our time in. The very best thing you can do for the whole world is make the most of yourself. You can serve God and man in no more effective way than by getting rich. That is, if you get rich by the creative method and not by the competitive one. Another thing, we assert that this book gives in detail the principles of the science of getting rich. And if that is true, you do not need to read any other book upon the subject. This may sound narrow and egotistical, but consider there is no more scientific method of compilation in mathematics than by addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. No other method is possible. There can be but one shortest distance between 2 points. There is only one way to think scientifically, and that is to think in the way that leads by the most direct and simple route to the goal. No man has yet formulated a briefer or less complex system than the one set forth herein. It would be stripped of all non-essentials. When you commence of this, lay all others aside, put them out of your mind altogether. And then there's a meditation box. Simple can often be complex. Consistency always beats divided attention. The tortoise and the hare. And I don't know, I get the um idea behind the tortoise and the hare, but the tortoise only wins because the hare takes like a dozen naps during the race. If the hare just ran the race and was consistent like the tortoise, the hare would have won and then could have taken a nap after crossing the finish line. But obviously, that's not how the story goes. It's the tortoise wins because the hare takes naps periodically during the race instead of after the race. Read this book every day. Keep it with you. Commit it to memory and do not think about other systems and theories. If you do, you will begin to have doubts and to be uncertain and wavering in your thoughts. And then you will begin to make failures. We have another, the works box. You should always be reading this over and over. The more you read, the greater your focus, belief, and gratitude will be. And I mean, it's mentioned, how important it is reading and rereading this. I would say if you have access to videos like this one, listening to this book, and in this case at least, my interpretation or opinions on certain things could be helpful too. After you have made good and become rich, you must study other systems as much as you may study other systems as much as you please. but until you are quite sure that you have gained what you want, do not read anything on this line but this book, unless it be the authors mentioned in the preface, and read only the most optimistic comments on the world's news, those in harmony with your picture. Also, postpone your investigation into the occult. Do not dabble in theosophy, spiritualism, or kindred studies. It is very likely that the dead still live and are near, but if they are, let them alone. Mind your own business. We have a reflection box. Conspiracy theories are a modern version of a powerful distractor. It puts the them against us ideas in front of your mind and gets you focused on being lied to and manipulated. While that may be true in some cases, now that you have this book, none of that matters and you can control your own destiny. Whenever the spirits of the dead may be, they have their own work to do and their own problems to solve, and we have no right to interfere with them. We cannot help them, and it is very doubtful whether they can help us or whether we have any right to trespass upon their time if they can. Let the dead and the hereafter alone and solve your own problem. Get rich. If you begin to mix with the occult, you will start mental cross currents, which will surely bring your hopes to shipwreck. Now, this and the preceding chapters have brought us to the following statement of basic facts. And before those basic facts, it tells us to read out. Well, I guess the read out loud is part of the facts. There is this thinking stuff which all things are made, in which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner space of the universe. A thought in the substance produces the things that is imagined by the thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, man must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of these things he wants and hold this picture in his thought with the fixed purpose to get what he wants, and the unwavering faith that he does get what he wants, closing his mind against all that may tend to shake his purpose, dim his vision, or quench his faith. And in addition to all of this, we shall now see that he must live and act in a certain way. And then the exercises at the end of the chapter. Rate myself and think of ways to improve in these categories. How grateful am I? How much faith do I have? How focused am I on my goal? How strong is my burning desire to achieve my goal? What can I do to increase these? So, hopefully, you found some value in this. And actually, I kind of find it interesting the read out loud part about, um, you know, it almost seemed like a few different bullet points, and then the last part was a paragraph. In the quick start, the quick start guide for the science of getting rich, it actually kind of refers to that part as the syllabus from Wallace D. Wattles. So I'll kind of go into that later. But hopefully you found some value in this and keep checking back for some more Science of Getting Rich content. Thanks and have a good day.